Okay, so I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he mentioned to me that Nollywood was experiencing a renaissance right now, in part to the epic Yoruba movies that have been released in the past year or so. So I watched Jagun Jagun, and after seeing that movie, I have to say I have some questions. So, Jagun Jagun is an epic Yoruba movie. It's produced by Femi Adebayo, also stars Femi Adebayo and Lateef Adedimeji. It tells the story of an aspiring warrior called Gbotija who joins this military outfit so he can learn the art of war and avenge his tribes people or village people who were slaughtered by these unknown raiders that came to the village and slaughtered everyone. Now, this military outfit that he joins is headed by this mercenary, you can call it a mercenary for hire, who is called Ogundiji. Think of Ogundiji as your epic day Asari Dokubo. Yeah, think of Ogundiji as your epic day Asari Dokubo, a mercenary for hire, and he goes about helping different village chiefs to fight their own personal wars. Now, the conflict starts when the heroics of Gbotija rubs off badly on the ego of Ogundiji, and that is where you now have a story or dilemma in this movie, as they will say. So, straight off the bat, I think we have to just mention the most obvious thing about this movie. The first thing everyone is talking about with this movie, and that has to do with the production of this movie, how this movie is helmed, from production, set design, costume, location, fight choreography, cinema. I think the way this movie is helmed, the producers, directors of this movie have to be given props, no doubt. The way they've been able to transport us mentally to how epic the Yoruba kingdom could have been or was, I don't know, and I think we should give kudos to the producers and directors of this movie, the way they set this movie out for us. I think it's on Netflix right now. I watched it in Yoruba and then with English subtitles. I know there's some people who like to watch it in just English. When you watch it in English, for me personally, I just felt it just lost a little bit of value, because I feel like we need to grasp how this movie was actually filmed in the native tongue, and I think it was great. Every time they were dishing out proverbs, which was nice. I liked it. It was great. I think another thing I loved about this movie, and I'll keep saying this till tomorrow, I think in Africa, I think Nigerian actors are one of the best actors out there. And this is coming from someone who has seen a little bit of Eastern African movies, a little bit of Western African movies. Of course, we've seen a lot of South African movies and their TV shows. Yeah, and Nigerian actors really stand out. You can see the passion, professionalism that these guys are giving based on what they are given to work with. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody I could point at and say, oh, this one was just there to come and collect his money and go. You could tell that everyone brought their A game to the table to come and do their thing, and it was really nice to see. For the most part, I would say I was entertained watching this movie. Now at this point, I just want to warn everybody, from this point there are going to be spoilers. I don't think there's any way I can really touch on this movie without adding spoilers. So if you're not really into spoilers and you're going to watch this movie, maybe you can go watch the movie, come back, and then, or if you don't care, then we might as well just go ahead, right? Now, I've always, bear with me, I've always mentioned something about Nigerian movies. I always feel like, despite the ground that we have covered in producing or making our movies, I just feel like the main ingredients of what make movies are either missing or could be better in our movies, and that has to do with storytelling and the characters. Some of the characters and our storytelling, and I feel like Jagun Jagun to a degree suffers from that as well. Now let me explain. Now, there are some character arcs in this movie. First of all, I just want to say there are parts of this movie that are very predictable. Right? You can watch this movie and you find out that, okay, yes, that is what is going to happen. Like, for instance, this quest or this vengeance that Gbotija is, or this quest that Gbotija is on, that he wants to learn the art of warfare so he can go and avenge his his tribespeople being slaughtered and killed when he was a boy. So honestly, watching this movie, you could just tell that at the end of the day, it was going to be Ogundiji's people that he was going to fight with. But that could be nitpicking. But for me, it had to do with the impact that I felt that the movie makers were going for, that I did not just feel, based on the fact that some of the storytelling for me could have been better. Some of the characters in this movie, I didn't really get to know them as much as I would have. The relationship between some of these characters wasn't watertight, to the point that when things started happening towards the end of this movie, that I could buy and get on that train of this emotional roller coaster that a lot of people were responding to and they really loved. So let us start with the relationship between Gbotija and Bogumi. It's supposed to be like a father-son relationship, but I just felt like the movie makers kind of like dropped the ball a little bit there. I just felt like, not really, it's just the way I would have liked to see it, or the way it would have resonated with me in terms of pulling up the emotional strings with what this movie was trying to achieve. I just felt like, okay, so Gbotija is given 3 tasks to perform by Ogundiji, kind of like the 12 labors of Hercules, if you want to put it that way. It's not that deep, but something like that. And I just felt like if the first 2 had been something else, like if the first 2 didn't involve Gbotija facing off against Bogumi, in the sense that in the first task, okay, maybe you have to do whatever, and Bogumi is the one mentoring you, giving you what things to do, giving you that father relationship thing, both from the first one and then from the second one, guiding you, and then the third one was now that fight with Bogumi. Like, it would have been, for me, that would have touched on more, because leading up to that would have been able to see more of their relationship building up, so that by the time it got to that point where they had to fight, it would be like, man, father versus son relationship. Yes, there's some relationship, there's some interaction between them before that point, but I just felt like it wasn't enough to really see these characters interacting with each other for me to feel what I was feeling when they faced off in the movie. And I just felt like if they had done the first two tasks in the sense that Bogumi was the one mentoring him, showing how that father relationship was now building up, by the time they got to that point that they fought, I think the emotional strength there would have been really strong, if I put it that way. That's just the way I felt watching, and that's why when that was happening between them, it didn't really touch me that well. The relationship between Gbotija and Ogunkiton as well just made me feel, again, I just felt like they could have handled it a little bit different, in my opinion. I just felt like, first of all, I just want to say the fact that Ogunkiton turned out to be the demon spirit Agemo, for me, I did not see that coming. That was one moment in the movie where it was like a holy shit moment, like holy shit, you know, and it was nice. But I just felt like once again, I did not feel the impact of her death based on what I had seen prior to that. Now let me explain. I just felt like at the beginning of the movie, you see Ogundiji summoning Agemo, like go and kill those people or whatever, and I just felt like if they had handled that differently, in the sense that there's some sort of conflict between Ogundiji and the Agemo, where the Agemo, it takes a lot of juju for this spirit to obey its master, because Ogunkiton says it there that she did not want to do all these things that this guy was sending her to do. She was not, in favor of all those things, being controlled by this guy, even giving her a child. So it's clear that she did not want to do these things, but she did not have a choice because he had a power over her. And I just felt like from the beginning of the movie, or from the moment Gbotija and Ogunkiton met each other, if they had made it in a way that, look, this girl really likes this guy, but she cannot fall for him, she cannot go out with him, she cannot have an intimate relationship with him, because of what she knew could likely come in the future. But we wouldn't understand, we wouldn't know why this girl would not want to give this guy her heart, right? And then at the end of the day, if now that had now happened, that it was now later revealed, like, oh, she's actually this Agemo person, it would have made a lot more sense that, oh, this demon assassin who is being controlled by this her father figure, who does not want to do these things, even has a child for him, does not want to have a serious relationship with a guy that she clearly likes, because all this while she knew that at some point she would have to face up with this guy. I think for me, that would have made more sense than what we saw in the movie. And I'm just talking about the emotional strings that they were trying to give us, which a lot of people felt, but I didn't really feel it that way because of what I'd seen prior to that. And this is where I talk about, having really interesting characters, flawed, complicated characters, Even when you look at Ogundiji, what are his motivations for supporting this chief over another chief, or this person over another person? We don't know. All we know is that he protects chiefs. Yeah, there's something stated halfway through the movie where we're talking about what a chief was going to give him or whatever, but that's not enough. We don't know what motivates him to separate this person from this person, that he's going to support this person over that person. Also, when you think about the fact that some of his men rebelled against him, yeah, you might want to say, oh yes, it's explained in the movie that, oh, he killed one of his soldiers, or he sent some people to go and kill or raid a village without just cause. And I'm like, it didn't show enough. It didn't tell us enough to show that these seeds of doubt or seeds of rebellion were being planted in the soldiers. None at all. You understand? And you might want to say, oh yes, before they went to attack that village, Gbotija was saying something about it to his guys and all that. But his guys didn't offer any resistance. They all went in, they all fought. And even if those soldiers had any doubt in them, they all died at the end of that raid now. So I didn't see any seeds of rebellion, seeds of doubt that would just make the soldiers to turn on this their feared warlord just like that. But having said that, the movie is not bad. It's definitely not terrible, but for me, having seen all this, Jagun Jagun will get a... I know, because there is a lot of hype about this movie. It's going to be a very unpopular rating, I know, but I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's because of the hype that this movie brought. I don't know, just watching this movie is not... the thing not just catch for me. It was nice, so it was good, but it not just catch. See, I didn't watch the film, I prick the rise, Don't worry, we'll edit out of the movie. We'll edit it. So anyway, what do you think about it? Whatever your thoughts, comment below, let us know. If you're new here, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Once again, thank you for watching, and please do something good for anybody today. Peace.